What is up, guys? Welcome to this third episode of Season 2 of Closing Out the Week. I'm your host, Marco Alvarado. I can't even talk. I'm so excited I can't even talk. I'm about to close out your week in style. Oh, we got some pretty interesting stories to talk about. A lot of stuff happened this week. Not like super notable stuff. Nothing that's like earth-shattering, but some things that definitely have some impact on our day-to-day, especially if you're a Gen Z or millennial. And what I'm talking about specifically is that TikTok may be banned. TikTok may be banned in the United States. But before I delve into that a little bit more, please follow The Closers Podcast on Instagram at The Closers Podcast. Like our Facebook page at Closers Podcast, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are The Closers Podcast. Also, like any video that you watch on that channel. Share the video with your friends, your parents, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your significant other. Helps out the cause, brother. Thank you. All right, so yeah, let's jump into this. TikTok. A lot of Americans' guilty pleasure. A lot of my generation's guilty pleasure. But I don't think that most of them feel that guilty about it, honestly. I don't think they feel too guilty about liking TikTok. But yeah, so they were about to ban this app because it is owned by a Chinese company. That company's name is ByteDance. And that company is believed by the U.S. to pose a threat to U.S. American citizens' privacy and private information. Because, of course, a lot of Americans use TikTok, put a lot of personal information into the app. It is owned by a Chinese company. So, of course, the authoritarian regime out in China, hypothetically, theoretically, could force that company to give them the information. But of course there's pushback on this by TikTok themselves and ByteDance. They've recently appointed an American CEO to be in charge of TikTok. So that CEO has been outspoken about how they would never give any information to China, and in fact that all American information is kept in servers or on servers that are on American land. So therefore, if America really wanted to, they could, like, I don't know. So they could be, like, it's more secure because it's here, basically. This also comes on the heels from India planning on banning TikTok as well, because Indian forces and Chinese forces clashed on their border. So now that China and India are kind of at a political dispute, to put it lightly, India is taking steps to ban the app in their country, and now the U.S. is looking into it since India and the U.S. are allies. Of course, the Donald Trump administration is it's no secret that administration is not the biggest fan of China. So anytime they're able to stick it to a Chinese company, they're going to do it. So, I mean, Mike Pompeo, who is the Secretary of State, on Monday kind of affirmed that the administration is looking into banning the app, and Trump himself has also said it. I myself, I like TikTok, I guess, just as an app, but just like Musical.ly and Vine before it, I could really care less if it leaves. A lot of my friends, family members, they love these really, really quick, short video applications where it's just constantly new content in your face over and over and over. And then before you know it, you've wasted 4 hours looking at fucking TikTok. They love that shit. And I understand why. But I've just never really gotten too much into it. I'm more of a long form consumer in that respect. But TikTok for musicians, for a lot of like makeup artists and YouTubers. It's a great way to promote yourself. So I understand why a lot of people would not want to see this platform go away, but things change, times change. And I guess that kind of leads us into the second story of this episode, which is that the Biden campaign says his manufacturing and innovation plan would create 5 million jobs. Yes, 5 million jobs. That's kind of something we need right now. If you listen to the last episode of Closing Out the Week, I talked about how there was government projections saying that we wouldn't recover from this unemployment crisis until 2030. So a whole decade of pretty abysmal unemployment rates. So this may be exactly what we need. But basically, what Biden said is that he wants to invest in invest $400 billion in manufacture and $300 billion in research and development, or R&D, in several diverse industries, which is very interesting because go on a little anecdote. I studied in Sweden for 2 months this year, in the beginning of this year, before the coronavirus cut my journey short. I was supposed to be there until June. Had to come back early in March, but that's okay. I'm over it now. Anyways, while I was there, one of the 2 classes I was able to take was actually a class that studies the EU, and innovation policy really is a cornerstone of what the EU does. And me being an American, this is like something I never really thought about, like us actually trying to like pay for innovation ourselves, for businesses to become innovative instead of just hoping that capitalism does it for us. Like, what? This is crazy. Or a free market, I should say, does it for us. So now that I'm seeing that Biden is wanting to kind of drift in this way, which I'm not saying that the American government has never tried to invest in innovation. I just don't think that we do enough. And it seems like Biden wants to push us further in a direction where we, as the government, he wants the government to be pushing more innovative ideas in research and development. So I think that's a good thing. I think that's really good. It's helped the EU a lot. And we are, just objectively speaking, we are wealthier than the EU. So if we put more of our resources towards research and development, we, should be able to get more out of it, just because we're putting more in. So we should get more out of it. So we'll see how that goes. But that does make me feel a little bit better about voting for Joe Biden. I've been outspoken about wanting, hoping and praying that Bernie would have been the candidate. But, it's not the times we live in. I'm over it. All right, so the final story of this week is something that I honestly don't have a lot of things to say about. It kind of speaks for itself, but it is a pretty big story that's going on, at least in some of the online circles that I just peruse. And it's that there's been a ton of pro Super Smash Brothers players who play competitively who have been exposed and accused of sexual assault, grooming, sexual harassment, and just rape. There's a list on Reddit under the subreddit drama, and there's a ton of people who are accused. Now, I don't know much about the gaming community, honestly. I'm not that much of an avid gamer. But from the outlets and from the people that I kind of like follow on YouTube who are, a lot of these grooming stories and assault stories and experiences that have been shared by the victims stem from like gaming events and cons and stuff like that, where like young fans can go and meet these gamers who are older. I've had friends tell me about going to cons, SAC anime, and other conventions in the past, and they've told me about their experiences. So given the stories I've heard from my friends who have experienced something along the lines of what's happening here, it does not surprise me. to pivot this into something that I kind of know more about is everything that's happened with the Warped Tour community. Rest in peace, rightfully so. Please do not resurrect. Because what you have in this instance is kind of what happened with the Warped Tour community. So let me explain. Warped Tour, as many of you know, was a tour of a lot of like punk and emo and like scene bands at the time. It ran for like 20 years or something. And during its run, there was a lot of kids that would come to this traveling tour. It would travel almost every state in the nation. And, people would make a day of it. They'd bring their kids. Some kids would just go by themselves. A lot of my friends would just go by themselves when they were like 14, 15, even younger. And you'd be able to like walk around. It was this like wonderland of just like emo music, basically. And you could just like go up to tents and like meet the merch people from your favorite band, and then hopefully meet your favorite band and see your favorite bands and interact with people who love your favorite bands. It was a great time. But a lot of people, a lot of men specifically in the bands that played, used that position of power to their advantage to groom children and to assault children and to rape children. So you kind of have the same sort of thing happening here, just instead of a like music festival, you have a convention, a gamers convention, or a gaming competition. So all I really have to say is I hope that the people who are accused are brought to justice. I hope that the people who are guilty are found to be guilty. And I just hope that there's changes made to these conventions and to within the community, within the Smash community, to end this sort of behavior and to be more accountable of your own in-groups. So that means your friends that you hang out with who are within the group, who, you have a group of friends who like Smash or go to Warped Tour when Warped Tour was a thing, right? You're accountable for them. If they're doing something shitty, you're going to call them out. That has to become established. So I hope that becomes established within that community. We'll see what happens in the future. But for now, that's all I have on that topic. I just felt like it was definitely necessary to cover. And now it is time for the theme of the week. Oh, yeah. The theme of this week is standing your ground. Now, in the past 2 weeks, I've used one-word themes, so I just wanted to kind of break that trend to kind of give myself a little bit more flexibility. I didn't want to just throw one-word ideas at you. I wanted to be able to, get into the nitty-gritty if I really wanted to, and that's what I kind of want to do. What I mean by standing your ground is just not allowing for people to walk all over you. For a lot of my life, I'd say, I allowed for people in various ways to walk all over me, take advantage of my kindness, take advantage of my my loyalty to my friends and my family, and to use that kind of to do anything they wanted to me or to take advantage of me in any way. I have recently learned I don't have to put up with that shit, and neither do you. So if there's something that a friend or a family member does to you or says that you don't like, and it's a pattern behavior that you've noticed across multiple relationships, it's okay to disconnect and to say, you know what? I need better than this. I deserve better than this, actually. I don't just need it, I deserve it. It's okay to say that to yourself and to distance yourself from the people who see you as lesser than them, personally speaking. It's actually good. You should do that. It's healthy. Because once you do that and you're unapologetic about it, you will never feel more free. And I'm telling you that from experience. Because there's going to be people who are going to try to make you feel bad, who are going to try to make you think like, hey, you should give that person another chance. But you know what? I don't want to. I don't want to. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, things change, right? People come into your life, people come out of your life. But if you're always just allowing things to pass through you and you're not kind of relegating what comes in and what comes out of your life, you can stop certain people, certain things from entering your life. There's a lot of things you can't. Certain things just happen, of course. But there's a level at which you can stop things from happening in certain respects. And there's, to a certain extent, in certain situations, you can stop from things leaving your life as well. Or at least making it known that you don't want that person, you don't want that thing to leave your life. And if they still want to leave, all right. But at least you made it known, right? You don't have to be this doorway for people. You don't have to do that. And I'm kind of more telling you guys this for myself, because I've had to think about it quite a bit. And I don't feel bad for having to restructure my life and my friends and how I interact with them, how I interact with my family. Because at the end of the day, it makes me feel better about myself. I surround myself with people who make me feel better about myself. That's the whole point. And I strongly urge you to do the same if you haven't realized that already. If you have, great for you. I am now on the same boat as you. But yeah, that's the theme of the week. That's my little rant for the week. Quinn Kalani will be back at you with Hang 10 on Monday. What's he going to talk about? I don't know. And who's our guest going to be for next week for the Closures Podcast on Wednesday? I don't know about that either. But we'll be back at you then, and I will catch you next week on the Closures Podcast. Like I said, on Wednesday. That's when you hear me next. But you don't have to wait for more content, because Quinn Kalani's got you on lock, all right? Okay. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Like I said, please follow us on Instagram at the Closers Podcast. On Facebook, we have a Facebook page. Please like that page at Closers Podcast, and follow, or should I say subscribe to us on YouTube. All right. These episodes keep getting progressively longer, and I apologize for that. I'm really trying to cut it down. But without further ado, I'll bid you an adieu. See you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.